Me again. Hey, I just wanted to shoot out another YouTube video out there to you guys and kind of let you know what the situation's going on with the harassment at my current job. Um, I've done some research into some of these cases, and unfortunately, there's not a lot that gets resolved. I think I could probably get a harassment suit from this company that I'm working for. But as far as bringing attention to this targeting issue and the gang stalking and everything else, we just can't win on it because of the Patriot Act. It seems like every single one of these cases, when they get pushed through, they get shot back down because of national security, and they don't have to say a word about it. So unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to go that route, and reason being is I just don't feel like going through the craziness of having to explain myself to everybody on why I was hospitalized at one point, and explain what's been happening to me. It's ludicrous, and at this point we just don't have enough attention to the issue, and people just will not believe it. So anyway, I came up with another idea that I thought would be better, and that is just to kind of throw this out there, is to just forgive the people that are harassing me. And the reason why I say that is if they're doing this kind of stuff to innocent people like they're doing, they're going to have a lot of things to answer for one day. And I just want them to know that I forgive them for what they've done. And it's very difficult to do so with what I've been through. But, I think it's the best approach. And I just hope that they come to their senses and realize what they've done, and hopefully find it within themselves, within their own heart, to kind of change the pace of where they're heading, and kind of turn the other way a little bit. So anyway, I'm going to forgive them and kind of leave that behind me. And I'm currently looking at another job right now, so I'm kind of excited about that. But what I wanted to throw out with you guys right now is I've been, I don't know if I told you, I was working on a book, and I'm getting pretty far with it. And one of the things that I'm doing with this book is I'm writing it as a science fiction book. And what I'm doing is I'm incorporating my story into the book itself. So it's actually a non-fictional account of what's happened to me in a fictional science fiction book. So I'm going to kind of read a little bit to you on that. And what I thought would be pretty neat is if all of us, if some of you guys wanted to kind of join in and write some chapters on some of the things that have happened to you in correlation to this book. I think it would be kind of cool to, like, all of us kind of put something together, and maybe we can get some national wide attention if we come up with something that's really good. So and it's a prediction of what's going to happen in the future. So I really feel this is where it's heading, and I've got a lot of knowledge into that fact due to my awakening. I've been getting a lot of different thoughts that have been coming to my mind, and different memories that I've been remembering. And so there's a great deal of knowledge that I have, and I'm gonna just kind of throw this out there. I'm gonna do the first chapter now. It's called the book, I haven't even decided to name it yet, but I know the first chapter is Prisonix, and that's Prisonix. So I'm going to kind of start out with that right now, and just kind of throw it out there with you guys, and see what you guys think about it. I'm going to touch on a couple of different chapters and just read a little bit of each one, but I thought it would be kind of neat to kind of go over this. So I'm going to go ahead and read the preface real quick too. If you have picked up this book in hopes of finally understanding why and how a targeted individual is picked or chosen among the population, singled out and driven into an ugly world of survival, chaos, and torture, in addition, the world of the new technological human experiment where the invisible weapons of the future are now being tested in order to better shape the elite's visions of control and total world dominance for their future. A system now used covertly by our government to silent kill any whistleblowers, dissidents, or separatists who do not agree with a matrix-run slavery grid powered by a few elite families. in charge of orchestrating this sick and perverted puppet show. I cannot even guess why and how at this point. The misinformation train is running on all cylinders around this American-sponsored global Holocaust. Although this book was written in a third-person fictional format, I've tried my best to incorporate as much truth of my own experience relating to being a targeted individual, or TI, as possible. The idea was to write a book that is so good it grabs the reader by his balls wherever he or she is and picks them up 10 feet off the ground and drops them to the hard ground below. And yes, I know females don't have balls. You don't need to send me a comment on that. You get the point. The people on this globe and under hypnosis need to finally wake up and see that we aren't living in a place of freedom anymore, but a prison grid designed to use electronic torture, surveillance, and harassment in order to control or create 100% global dominance on this earth. Therefore, this book must reach a larger audience than just formal TIs and their families. In order to achieve greatness, one must be willing to die sometimes for it. Enjoy this book. It may be my last and only. Okay? So I'm going to start out with the first chapter, Prison X now. I'm kind of go at it right here. The fear came over me like an ice-cold blanket, welcoming my death. Everything had almost changed overnight. The sky became dark. The morning air contained no freshness anymore. No dew, no more clear, transparent aroma. It smelled like the day before and the day before that. The clouds were not clouds like most people remembered before. No, these clouds were manufactured for us. Yes, that's right, for you. Just another layer of aluminum oxide and coated swarm of nanobots to keep us all in line and not thinking outside the grid. The wave arrowed patterns with the slight reflecting blue is how we are starting to remember clouds now. Each day that passes, more memories seem to become a distant glance. Beazle and his minions are beginning to do what we all thought to be impossible, creating and controlling the first Prison X our planet has ever seen. Artificial intelligent clones were their boots on the ground, able and always ready to round up any awakenings that may be spotted by their advanced telepathy neurosense technology. Yes, oh, you didn't know, they can read our thought patterns. I know what you're thinking. This is bad, isn't it? Very bad. However, the awakened have adjusted. Yeah, like me. The name is Heavy. People in the grid call me Heavy T. I only have 2 friends who have awakened like me, and they simply just call me T. You got to understand, the awakened are hunted on the grid. The targeted individuals aren't hunted or tortured using that old Nazi Stasi formula anymore. They hunt in the open and are not afraid to use deadly force neither. In fact, it is completely legal for any citizen of this new world to hunt down suspected targeted individuals of the Prison X. Like we didn't have enough to worry about with the AI clones, we now have mercenary groups chopping us down as well. You see, that's why we can't hang with the gridsters. They will rat us out, you see. So we keep on the down low, and I mean down low. Prison X is the ultimate controller to the grid. Yeah, we of the old world wait. Oh yeah, help build it. Sometimes I must be careful when thinking because I still have trinary thinking capabilities. We of the awakened must always think in binary or it will give our identities away to the AIs. And then they will come for us. Anyway, yeah, every device, appliance, electric gadget, cell watch, or even earpiece, and even our pets are chipped and shut down the minute they suspect any human being of awakened descent. Behavior patterns. Oh, and they use it for punishment of various laws that have now been implemented in the grid as well. The Prison X is a state-of-the-art new virtual replica of the old Earth, but it also has many new features, laws, and controls that have been implemented to not just its creation, but to maintaining its global dominance and control in this realm. Basically, Prison X not only watches the GPS, store purchasing, and other common things human beings do in our lives, but reads your brain patterns and analyzes the frequencies in those patterns, making humans slaves that are no longer capable of emotional thought anymore. No feelings of hope, happiness, sadness, restlessness, or jealousy. The awakened refer to them as puppets or humanobots. Oh, why the puppets? Because they can be controlled in real time, anytime Prison X is open for the elite or demons to have fun with them. How did it all start? Okay, you want to know my story from the beginning? And then I go through my story, from the beginning when it kind of started and everything. And what's the next part? Then the other character is, I brought in a character from the Illuminati, and he's a character that's going to be traveling in time to the future, and he's going to be an important piece to this puzzle. He's actually a guy that kind of turned his back on the Illuminati and decided that he wanted to actually have a better life. He wanted to feel love and what it was like to, you know, have a beautiful and peaceful Earth versus total control dominance Earth. And that's my chapter 2. And I start out with the scientists that actually are going to pick up the man who dared to hope is his name. I'm going to start out with that one. Gunther peeked his small pointed bald head nervously out the back window. His glasses had already fallen to the middle of his freckled nose, due to the perspiration dripping from his face. Hans, his brother, waved a hand towards him. Obviously ready to go, Hans was sitting in the '68 Mustang below. Hans and Gunther were two of the smartest scientists in the world, brought over to America after World War II, among the 13 to 15,000 brought here in order to continue their research and experimentation into the occult, mind control, and hyperdimensional time travel. Appointed to the SS Scientifical Development Research Center by Himmler himself to assist Joseph Mengele. Joseph, along with the Nazis, had been using occult techniques to commit the most horrible crimes against the Jewish children during the Holocaust in Nazi Germany. After the war was concluded, the CIA let the Nazi monster, along with thousands of other scientists, escape death by continuing their torture experiments in America. The Illuminati controlled both sides in World War II. Creating false dialectics has always been a strong tactic of their controlling in death. Hans and Gunther were brothers, but you would never know by looking at them. Gunther fit the geeky white lab coat description almost perfectly. However, Hans had the style and class. He never liked talking about science with people he associated with. After the brainwashing began to wear off post-World War II, his guilt and shame got the best of him. Still forced to continue his research in the States, he drank heavily in the evenings while occasionally clicking the hammer back on his Colt 45 with the barrel in his mouth, though he loved Gunther too much and just couldn't bring himself to do it. Gunther, on the other hand, had a mind like a computer. Emotions were never something that had been his strong point. He simply did what he was told, and his brilliance in physics, mathematics, and hyperdimensional time travel answered the orders. Gunther grabbed his briefcase from under the stairs and quickly made his way to the front door, then slowly nudged his glasses up over his eyes again and peeked out the small peephole to make sure the coast was clear before making his exit out of the hole in the wall apartment he lived in. He then opened the door slowly, cautiously looking down the hallway that led to the back staircase to the parking lot below. Quickly, he dashed down the hall, down the stairs, and to the parking lot door below. After opening the door below and the sight of Hans sitting in his Mustang with a beer between his legs and a cigarette dangling out of his mouth, he breathed a strong sigh of relief. Hans looked at him with a slight chuckle. "Come on, bro, we haven't even done anything yet. You looked as if you stained your underpants already. It'll be fine. Just think of it as giving something good finally back in our lives." He then took another large gulp off his beer and opened the back door for the briefcase. And then I just kind of talked a little bit more about the scientists. They're basically on their way to go get the man who dared to hope. And I'll read a little bit of that one here. The man who dared to hope awakened suddenly, drenched in sweat and slightly shaking in confusion from another dark, horrifying nightmare that continued to haunt his mind still. He cannot get the roar out of his mind, a roar from a darkness on this earth so evil and black that it once killed a man back in his childhood. He sat up quietly in his bed and began to sob slightly into his uplifted hands, a routine that had continued at least 3 to 4 days of each week, fracturing any relaxing, quiet, and soothing rest he craved so badly. The nightmare was even remembered fully, but was never remembered fully, but was shrouded with dark occult symbols, black cloaks, screams of terror, and pure evil, always ending abruptly with the roar of an ungodly beast here on this earth, but not of this realm. He reached upon the hotel's end table and grabbed his gold-plated Rolex and put it around his wrist, then pulled out the drawer below. A 9mm handgun lay on top of the stack of shirts. He took the handgun and laid it upon the bed next to him, while grabbing a silver polo shirt from underneath. After sliding the shirt over his head and shoulders, he then pulls the Samsonite travel case from beneath the bed, placing it upon the bed and opening it in order to pack his belongings. It was a day he had been waiting for. Since his innocence had been stolen from him, his life had been filled with secrets of dark visions. These visions plagued and haunted him throughout his life, leaving him hollow and empty, without love and compassion. Though he had everything in material form, he could feel nothing in his spirit, and no matter what he did to try and fill this void inside him, by changing his daily routine, it always became nullified by darkness that seemed to be wrapped around him like a cold coat. Dark icy blanket. Though this day he felt would be different. This day would change everything forever. He had no concern left of dying, because just as those cold wind breezes came off the Rocky Mountains that day, it was as if he knew what needed to be done for all of mankind in order for it to survive. He was willing to sacrifice anything to bring the world some kind of peace and feeling of love once again. He knew the future was not yielding to direction of light and love. He knew it was darker than ever and intended to enslave all of mankind in order to serve his dark family's desires of total control. He then walked to the window and opened it slightly after pulling the cord and raising the blinds. The light of the morning blasted through the room, bringing in its display of day upon him. As he gazed out upon the distant mountains, the man who dared to hope was feeling its shine as the rising sun's rays combed over his face and body, relieving his horrible nightmare from him. He looked at the sun rising, hitting the distant peaks with its brilliance, and it gave a calmness to him, a calmness that would stick with him and would carry his willingness to do this task to an unyielding end, strengthening his inner self to become a beacon to this earth, not an intolerable memory of distant past. The man who dared to hope was going to be the mortar of this rebuild of humanity. He would become the number one factor in this plan to stop the complete destruction of our world. He was the number one piece of the puzzle in order to change the horrifying future of mankind's existence, changing its path forever. He looked down at his watch. The watch reflected immensely the sun rays from the now open window off the sparkling diamonds which surrounded the golden handed clock lying within. The time was 6:12, and he adjusts, and then I just go on from there. And anyway, I don't want to read too much, but there's a few of the chapters I kind of started, and if you guys have any ideas, or you guys want to write a chapter or something and kind of add your story into it and bring a character into this thing, do it, and we'll see if it's going to work or not. And like I said, I want it to be all of us doing it, and hopefully maybe we can bring some attention to what we're going through and wake some people up. So I think if we can get this thing going, get enough viewers, get it up into the millions somehow, maybe we'll get some attention to the issue, and maybe people will start thinking a little bit about about the sleep that they're under, the hypnosis, and realize that we're already in the slavery grid right now with all the chemtrails, the HARP, bringing in the HARP to the cell phone towers, and basically, feeding off the nanobots that are dropping from the chemtrails. If you think about it, our entire Constitution is basically gone right now, and we just let it go away. Everybody just sat around and did nothing, and so there's definitely some mind control stuff going on right now, and so we really need to wake these people up. So I don't know, let me know what your ideas are, and let me know if you guys have anything for me on that idea there. So you guys have yourself a great night and a great weekend. Thanks, guys. Peace.